The Locked On Podcast Network presents the NFL Big 3 in 30. The 3 biggest stories in the NFL from our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 30 minutes. The NFL Big 3 in 30 starts now with the biggest story in the NFL. You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast.
The Nick Chubb saga, or the Nick Chubb free agency, I should say, continues to roll right along. He continues to be a free agent. Nobody has signed him to this point. I continue to bang. I will continue saying this. The longer he's out there, the longer he goes unsigned, I think the better it is for the Browns. The more likely it is that he returns to Cleveland. But as the millennials and social media people that we are in society today, we like to analyze everything that happens on social media. And so Nick Chubb, in a recent post, posted some pictures of himself working out, a video of himself squatting and doing some other workouts. It combined as a fourth photo in the roll here of Batman looking out at the city of Gotham from behind. And we know Nick Chubb loves Batman. So anytime he includes Batman in a post, people always wonder if it has some deeper meaning. And it's the caption with all these photos on Instagram reads, "They've already wrote my ending when I'm just getting started." And so everybody's freaking out. They think this means, oh, he's talking about the Browns. The Browns, I've written him off and they don't want him back. And they're telling him he can't play anymore. And he's just getting started. And everyone thinks this is a sign that he's now not coming back to Cleveland. He's getting cryptic on social media. Now, I'll say this. This is the second time there's been a post like this with Nick Chubb this offseason, where it's felt like he's gotten a little more, shown a little inside or inside baseball, if you will. Like he's shown a little bit of his psyche and how he feels right now at this juncture as he's rehabbing from another season-ending injury and trying to bounce back and be this great player again and all these different things. So I get why that's where people's minds go. I get why it feels like I forget what the first comment was. I should have looked it up before the show, but it was something about like, I want to say it was something where people were making the connection that like he felt slighted by the Browns because it was right after they had talked about, Angel Berry had talked about like they're going to let him test the market and they'll probably, they're going to meet with him, but they're going to let him test the market. And so people felt like it was a direct shot at like, oh, he feels slighted by this team and blah, 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 blah. And I don't know like the full I don't know Nick Chubb's full emotions or where his head's at. Like maybe he does feel slighted by the Browns because he's given it his all these last since he was drafted in 2018. And he feels that he has been disrespected and he's put his body on the line. He's suffered 2 big injuries and he wants to get paid for his services here in Cleveland and they're not doing it. But he's also been very adamant that he wants to play in Cleveland, that he wants to be here. So much so that I've convinced myself that I think he would take at least a little bit of a discount if the prices are sort of similar that he's getting offered, or the contracts he's getting offered are pretty similar, to come back to Cleveland because he loves it here so much and he loves this fan base so much and he wants to finish his career here. He's talked about that before. So I'm convinced that it's still on the table here. And I'll say this about the posts, both of them that he's done this offseason. I don't think this is him taking a shot at the Browns. I really don't. To me, this just feels like Nick Chubb doing what Nick Chubb does in terms of like he's using Batman, his alter ego, as kind of this source of motivation, and he's putting out these quotes. I think he's speaking to like the haters. We know Nick Chubb does not like the media. He does not like people like me because I come on platforms like this and say like Nick Chubb is cooked. I don't really think that. But if I do, then he picks up on that. Like, to me, this is Nick Chubb firing back at all the people who are doubting his ability to still be a great player and play at a high level. And maybe the Browns in conversations have told him flat out they don't think he's going to play at a high level anymore. I don't think that would be the way Andrew Berry would go about his business. I think they still probably feel pretty highly of Nick Chubb and they think he'd be a great person to have in this locker room, on this team, etc. And that if they can get the right price, they'll bring him back. But I also understand, like, it's a business. They don't have a lot of money to spend because their cap situation is garbage right now. And they do have to be smart about, like, the way they handle the business and finances of these things. So from that perspective, maybe they have offered him something that he's disrespected by, and that's why he's doing this. I just think this is more so Nick Chubb just being Nick Chubb when it comes to, he knows there's a lot of haters out there who have counted him out. I mean, he talked about this last year. He heard all the noise of people saying he couldn't do it anymore. He wasn't going to be back. He wasn't going to be able to return to form, all these different things. And he came back and tried to prove it. I think there was gradual progress for him. Like, he looked a little bit better each week he was out there, but he was never the same Nick Chubb. And maybe he'll never be the same Nick Chubb again. But I would still argue 80% of Nick Chubb from before is still a damn good running back in the NFL. And so I think he's still got something left in the tank. Still think he's got enough left in the tank that he could be a factor for the Browns. Again, I get them wanting to sort of play, make sure the price is right. And I don't necessarily think this is him specifically taking a shot at the Browns. It could just be him taking a shot at everybody that's maybe called him or called his representation and tried to reach out about deals. Maybe he feels like he's due more from anybody out there and that the league as a whole is kind of counting him out. And so he's ready to prove them wrong. But I don't think he's just calling out the Browns here with his Batman cryptic post. Even though it makes for some fun commentary, some fun conversations like this one, I still think, by the way, Nick Chubb ends up in Cleveland. So he can be cryptic all he wants. I think this ends with Nick Chubb in a Browns uniform. And I talk about a season being enjoyable again, or just the Browns football experience being enjoyable again. Flacco and Chubb in the same offseason, they come back. Whether that offense is going to be electric, whether or not the Browns are going to only win 4, 3, 5 games, that could happen, but it will be fun and enjoyable for the fans like yourself to follow if those two guys are at least involved in the conversation and in the game plan. So keep the spirits up. I don't think he's being cryptic on purpose to call out the Browns and send some message. I think this is just Nick Chubb and the way he motivates himself.
The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action right now. When you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if that bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting easy, whether it's picking my favorite teams or diving into player props from three-pointers to steals to assists. There's so many ways to bet. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance for an even bigger win. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. It's Pass Rusher Day. Mike Renner from CBS Sports picks his favorite, plus gives his assessment of the state of this Green Bay Packers roster.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast.
From CBS Sports, our longtime pal, Mike Renner. Mike, the Packers are, it's kind of obvious, I think, what they're looking at the top of this draft. But as you look at, let's try and stack these, the positions where you think if they take a player who hits at the top of the draft. Give me your top 3 positions in terms of if they did this at the top and hits, it has the biggest impact on this team.
I still think wide receiver is one where I think it will make a massive impact. I've been lamenting the ball skills of this receiving core for a few years now. It's just something that's not going to change, right? You just have guys who, are towards the lower end of the spectrum in terms of drop rates, and rarely does that bounce back to, high-end guys. So you need to bring in someone who's reliable. That doesn't necessarily have to be the first round, though. I think it's wide receiver. And I think the next biggest one's edge. Just another pass rusher. Even if Lucas Van Ness becomes good, even if Rashawn Gary bounces back, it's just look at what you have to go through in the NFC. Just look at the Eagles right now, and what they had last year. So I think those are the 2 positions where, if I'm just stacking up this roster, where can a big impact be made? I think it's those 2.
Do you try and separate edge versus interior? If they found a guy that you felt like could be a really good interior pass rusher, would that satisfy your craving for a pass rusher in this draft or no?
I think so. I mean, obviously defensive line, it's wherever you can get it, right? And ideally you want it on both the interior and the edge. I do think Kenny Clark, I think you're not getting the Kenny Clark of old at this point. I think it's safe to say that he's on the downslide of his career. Not that he can't bounce back in a meaningful way, but you're just never getting that guy who was, the dominant force he was. But you do have at least depth on the interior that I think can make an impact, whether it's, Kobe Wooden, whether it's Carl Brooks, those guys I think can actually be, your second wave of interior rushers. They can actually get the job done. And I'm expecting, year 3 of them to be even better. but it's the edge. I don't think has that same potential. I don't see that from Kingsley and Egbury. I don't see that from Brenton Cox Jr.
So, and also when you look at something like pass rush win rates, even of in the NFL, the best interior rushers, you're talking about 10 to 15. If you're really lucky, 18% win rates on the edge. It's 20, it's 23, it's 25, it's 28. You're just going to get more down in, down out pressures from those guys. When you look at this class and historically, Pro Football Focus has done the studies. If you want a good edge, you got to get him in the first. So I want to dig into some of that. Before we get there, though, the Packers have this tendency, let's call it, to like big, strong, fast. Maybe didn't produce at the college level. You're smiling. What do you like? Where are you on this? Because this has become a debate in this class, not just with the Packers, because Shamar Stewart, not a lot of production. Michael Williams, not a lot of production. Like there's a number of guys in this draft class who are considered high picks, but don't have a ton of sack production.
Yeah, I think the only guys who do, Carter, Mike Green, and Donovan Ezrako are like the only three who are getting first round buzz that you would even put in that category of like, they already kind of know what they're doing. They already kind of have plays to point to, games to point to, where it's like, man, look at him take over. The other guys, it's just like big, strong, fast, long, right? Like that's all it is. It's like, that's what you're going for. And now again, if there's any position where big, strong, fast has worked out from guys who, you know, maybe weren't dominant in college to then could become dominant in the NFL, I think it is edge. But also a lot of the guys who are dominating at the NFL level right now, like they also did, like you want to have both ideally. You want to have a blend of both. And so this class uniquely has very few of those blends. But I mean, there is just a lot of edge talent in general. And I think there's like, you said to hit big time swings, you need day one picks, but this class, I think uniquely has some high floor day two edges that, you know, probably won't turn into TJ Watts or Myles Garrett's. Definitely won't turn into Myles Garrett's. No one's going to, but like won't turn to that high end guy. But I think there's guys that can be your third edge if you really do see Lucas Van Ness taking a big step forward this year and Rashawn Gary, like, yeah, you could probably, this class, I think uniquely you could wait if you really wanted to.
Can you answer your own question? Do you see Lucas Van Ness being able to take a big step forward this year?
I was high on him, man. I was high on him coming out. I think he has a unique physical skill set at his size, with his strength, with his length, with his hand size, with like everything. He should be able to figure it out. Now he's one of the weirdest athletes I think I've ever come across in sport football. It's just like, it never quite looks, even when it happens correctly, it never looks pretty. So I don't know. If I had to bet based off of year two, I would bet we're not seeing a big step forward into what we're hoping he would have been with, what was pick 13.
Yeah. And there's always going to be the who they didn't take, right? That conversation, like Will McDonald was racking up sacks last year in New York, and they flipped with the Jets and they got, it seems like, the worst player in that group. Before we get to the top guys, I'm glad you mentioned the day two players, because I wonder about what the Packers approach is going to be if they miss out on the guys that they like in the first round. So give me a couple of those second round names where you go, hey, if this guy is there at 54 or 87 for Green Bay, he can at least give them something in the rotation with some talent here.
My favorite guy on day two is probably Braden Swinson from LSU.
Mine too.
Look at a guy who knows how to rush the passer. And that's, kind of the opposite of the day one guys. Like I can point to production from Braden Swinson, right? He may not be an elite athlete, but I think he's a plus athlete. Like I don't see, Kingsley Egbury is limited by his athleticism. You see that on tape. He does not have the juice to be a high-end pass rusher at the NFL level. I don't think that's the case for Braden Swinson. I think he has more than enough that, like, if he just continues to improve technically, he can get to a really high ceiling. So he's probably my favorite. I also think if Nick scored,
does no profile bother you? Because we didn't get to see testing numbers for him.
So he did the cone and shuttle, right? We just didn't get to see 40 explosive numbers.
We didn't get the full profile.
Yeah, but the cone was good. I think the numbers that he did do were good. But yeah, on tape again, I think he'd probably be like a low 4.7 to mid 4.7 guy.
Yeah. 85th percentile shuttle, 81st percentile three cone at 255, 6'3". Like that's you're doing your job.
Exactly, right? Like that's again, when I watch him on tape, that's how he wins. So I think he still could at the NFL level. The other one's Nick Scorton, Texas A&M defensive end. If he should fall that far, I just, bet on a guy
Speaking
who's
of weird
young.
body types.
Yeah.
He's I've never seen a guy built like him. He's so weirdly put together, but he wins.
Trying to put together a comp for him was hard for sure.
Yeah.
And I do worry about last year's production versus what he did at Purdue. Just like looked like a different player, and admittedly was like heavier than he wanted to be, which is like, dude, if you're heavier already, what's that going to look like in the pros? But you never really know. Some guys have had, that kind of knock coming out, completely turned it around. So it's never a complete done deal. But the talent that he's shown at 20 years old still, I think he's like the third youngest guy in the entire draft or something like that. If he's there in the second round, that was one that I would definitely be interested.
Ever check your bank account and wonder where'd all my money go between dining out, online shopping, entertainment? It's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year.
NFC quarterback ranks, and I'm wondering where J.J. McCarthy could sit this year. I'm going to give you my tiers.
No, don't worry about it.
Okay. Yeah, you can make that argument. I'm going to give you my tiers. All right. And tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where J.J. McCarthy could slot in. I think that Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels, just based on his age, what he did his rookie year, his trajectory, I think those two are essentially in a class of their own right now. I think I would put them in tier 1 above the solid veteran tier of Mayfield, Goff, Prescott if he's healthy, Darnold. If you just look at what they, like, all of them kind of who they are right now, they're 4,200 yard, 35 touchdown, 12 interception quarterbacks.
The Memorial Geno Smith tier.
Yeah, I would move Darnold down one tier. I would also move Hurts down one tier into that larger group. Like, I know there's a thematic thing for that group, and he doesn't fit the theme. But I think from just like a way I evaluate these quarterbacks' perspective, I put Jaden Daniels alone at 1, despite the fact that he's only had 1 year of play. And then Hurts, who I don't think has quite the completeness at quarterback that I would want to put in a top tier. I would put him with a lot. I mean, these are all extremely talented quarterbacks, people like Jared Goff, right? And Baker Mayfield. But I would put Hurts in that tier. And then I would take Sam Darnold, who I'm more concerned about his repeatability, especially in a Seattle system. I'd move him down one tier. And probably that is the Geno Smith tier now.
I would argue to move Jared Goff up to be with Jaden Daniels, as much as I hate to do it. What he's done in the last 2 years is proven.
I get it though.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah.
It's not fun. But like he's been Jared Goff has been what people told us Kirk Cousins was in off seasons. Like, just
I can't deny
solid.
Yeah.
Production, puts the ball where it's supposed to be, on time, in rhythm, offense hums.
Annoyingly good when he's in rhythm. With that offense.
Insanely efficient, and that is so difficult to defend.
Yeah, and he's increasingly difficult to take off rhythm. To your point, Luke. Like, yeah, he's really good in rhythm, but like it used to be when
the Bozo stuff is so rare now.
Right, exactly. Like it used to be when you're like, yeah, he's good in the structure of the offense. It's like kind of a backhanded compliment, but now it's like that the other element doesn't show up that often, so we don't have to worry. So yeah, I think it's fair to maybe put Goff in the tier above. For whatever reason, I think it's just like my personal biases. I'm not putting him there, but I think I don't have like a good actual argument, right? So
top tier would be Hurts and or Goff. Second tier, which I labeled solid veterans, Daniels and or Goff. Second tier, which is solid veterans, Hurts maybe in there along with Mayfield, Prescott when healthy, Darnold teetering on the second. My third tier, I kind of lumped, again, going off vibes, exciting but erratic. Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, that sounds right. Did you
Where
say
is Stafford in this?
Did we say Stafford?
I can't. Oh, I don't like.
I was like, wow, you're really low on Stafford. Wow, you're like, is Stafford in his own tier, which is I don't know if he's ever going to play again.
Yeah, Stafford is in the retired tier.
Yeah, Stafford. This is an insult to Stafford, but I didn't know where to put him. I put him in the past their prime tier with.
He's better than Jordan Love. What are we doing?
I think he's fully in at least the second tier. He's still a very good quarterback.
You want him in the solid veteran tier, okay?
Yeah. We saw what he did to the Flores defense in the playoffs. I
would put him in that Dak Prescott. Yeah, Dak Prescott tier, whatever.
He's definitely postseason.
Oh, actually, yeah. And then you mentioned Dak Prescott. I actually might move Prescott down. I was really uncomfortable with Goff and Prescott being in the same tier. It seems like we'd already solved that problem. But as a Prescott defender over the past 6 odd years, I think it's time. I think we got to move him down.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What is the? Is it just a vibe? What's the grading system? Stats, wins, losses, fourth quarter comeback,
vibes.
Like vibe. It's a vibe thing, right?
If it's anything other than vibes, we're trying too hard, and this is awful.
Yeah,
it's got to be vibes.
Yeah,
don't overthink it.
We all nodded our head. Like with Love, Kyler, and Purdy kind of being in the same tier. And if you look statistically,
Jordan Love being exactly Brock Purdy is a take that I said like 2 years ago, and it has paid dividends.
Extremely.
Oh, it's been good.
If Murray can ever perform in the second half of a season, he's going to move up a tier. But until such a time, until God lobbies cease to exist.
The final tier is Young and we don't know, which would be Bryce Young, Michael Penix, and Caleb Williams.
Well, that's the McCarthy one then, I guess, huh?
Sure.
Given that these tiers are thematic, really.
We're projecting. We've established that the solid veteran tier, which is some combination of Mayfield, maybe Goff, maybe Prescott, maybe Darnold, like the threshold, traditional stat threshold would be about a 35 touchdown, 4,000 yard season, 10 to 12 picks, very consistent across the board in those regards. So can JJ McCarthy?
Those are really high statistical thresholds there.
Pretty solid.
That's
remember
exactly what it is, though. That's what
last
you have
year,
to do.
High volume offense.
Last year at this time, Jaden Daniels would have been grouped in that Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, tiering as well. You know what I mean? We don't know.
If we're going to disqualify McCarthy from being in the unknown tier, which I feel like obviously he's in that tier.
For the sake of making this exercise interesting.
I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic about him. It hurts for me to be like, realistically, he's probably in this like insane, we don't like, Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy tier. But I mean, he can move up into this honestly fairly expansive group of people that includes what you call solid veterans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like the Baker Mayfield group. It wouldn't shock me. He is going to be in a high volume offense, so it's going to help with the statistical thresholds that you set, Sam. 35 touchdowns is still quite a bit, but it's no longer 2017. It's a little bit easier to get 35 touchdowns now. But
extra passes 50 times a game, like
extra game.
So it's
sure. No, you're right. I mean, it's tough right now. Agreed. He's got to be in that Penix Caleb grouping, but anywhere maybe below Jaden, like you could see it. I mean, it's in the world of
we're really bold today
for sure.
JJ McCarthy, he is in anywhere on a talent range below Jaden Daniels.
I think it'd be different. Obviously we all have like some optimism for sure. I think it'd be different if he had a surrounding cast that wasn't nearly as good. But when you got one of the best head coaches / quarterback coaches, offensive minds, and then you got the supporting cast of JJ, Hawkinson, Addison, which we'll see if he gets suspended the first couple of games or not, but an improved O-line. It's hard not to be, and watching this team win 14 games with somebody like Sam Darnold, it's hard not to be optimistic, but we just don't know. We haven't seen him yet. He hasn't. We need to see him take some live reps finally and go put a game on his back too. Like some of these guys that we're talking about, like they are one of the main reasons for their team's success. And I think that's what you're looking for. Can he go win a game with his arm in the fourth quarter, 2-minute comeback, and do all that stuff?
Yeah, he could be in any of these. Like, truly, like I feel like that's such a meek take, but like there is just too much unknown. If he has not improved upon anything, like if he had, these blemishes coming out of college that kept him from being the top 3 pick, these, the balls to the sideline, wanting to zip everything, the touch stuff, if those blemishes are still there, he's firmly in the Dak Prescott, I don't know if you're the guy tier. But he had an offseason work on that in his mechanics. He's been working on the mental side of the game, even when he was rehabbing. Now he's going to have a whole nother summer to work on his throwing mechanics, try to get more touch on those balls. If that stuff works, suddenly this could be a very Jared Goff looking situation where you have a quarterback that knows how to get
reality
things
training. Do we know? Is that?
I have no idea.
So if you watched last Wednesday's Carol Evans show, you may have already seen this, but I want to do just a partial bit of this exercise with you all. I have 7 quarterbacks lines. These are first-round picks in their second seasons, because Kevin O'Connell said he's not a rookie, second-year quarterback. So I'm going to give you the line. Tell me if you take it from JJ. 20, and this is, again, second year, first-round pick. 20 touchdowns, 12 picks, 3,700 yards, 10 wins. You take it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
I'll
gosh.
take it.
Yeah, 10 wins.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not the inflated fantasy
I
football
actually, I'll
stats
probably
that you would
take
love,
the.
but
Besides the wins, I'll probably take the over on every one of those stats, including the picks, if I'm being honest.
that's fair.
But yeah, no, I mean that seems quite doable if he's healthy the whole year.
Okay. What about 25 and 8, 4,100 yards, only 9 wins? Take that.
4,100 yards and 8 picks. Who did that?
So you're
That's
coming
crazy.
from behind for forever. If you're,
Yeah.
That's a lot of garbage time against safe. Probably not happy with the season, but happy enough with McCarthy. It sounds like that season is
9
not
wins.
McCarthy's fault if that's his.
That's Trevor Lawrence. That's Trevor Lawrence.
Well,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, funny.
All right. How about 20 TDs, 9 picks, 3,000 yards, very modest, 10 wins, and you get 500 rushing yards.
Yeah, I was about to say this sounds like a running quarterback. 3,000 yards. Yeah,
And 10 wins.
yeah. I don't know about the 500
This is
rushing
like
yards,
2021 Hertz.
That is 2019 Josh Allen.
Oh,
but yeah, running quarterback. Yeah, I would take the over on all of those except rushing.
yeah. So that I would be very surprised to see JJ McCarthy rush for 500 yards.
Yeah,
but
500
That
is
sounds great. That sounds really fun. Let's go.
Yeah,
Love that.
like 300
spot?
would be pretty fun.
Right.
Like,
300
yeah, I
would
could see
feel
that.
like a
That'd be
lot.
fun. But yeah.
What did,
wow.
what did
Hard
Caleb
spot.
have
Let's
last
go.
year? What did Caleb have, just for reference, rushing yards?
I believe it was like not as much as these guys, but also a Bears record.
Oh, okay.
A Bears quarterback story. Not as much as these guys, but a Bears record.
489.
Wow.
That's pretty
489.
close.
Okay.
He also had 466 sack yards. Led the league in that. So,
Yeah.
So a
that's
net positive
context.
in college of 21 yards or something. Okay.
Yeah, 3,500 yards for Caleb Williams, which did like that was like franchise record.
Dude, that's so wild. With
Or
Jay
maybe it was a franchise
Cutler
rookie record
and,
or
like-
something.
No, I think you're right.
Right, yeah,
I
because
think you're right.
I think
Was it?
Cutler had more than 3,500 yards at least one of those seasons, and he is the Bears' best quarterback.
Yeah.
Let me look up the
Two more. While you look it up.
Season records,
Two
yeah.
more. 24 and 12, 3,200 yards, 11 wins.
2,400
24?
yards?
No,
What did I
24.
say?
Oh no, I'm stupid.
24
24 and
touchdowns,
12.
12.
Eric Kramer holds the record
30
at 3,800.
3,200.
Caleb Williams, it was a rookie
3,200.
record,
Got it. Okay.
but fifth
Yeah,
all time still.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess, again, I'll take the over on all of those. I don't know.
That's Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch
Oh,
Trubisky.
okay, done. Easy. Plus, I bet he'll throw to the left, which is a great upgrade over this guy.
Last one.
He might not throw to the left or the right.
33 and 7, 3,300 yards, 11 wins. What's the catch? You hurt your knee at the end of the year.
Oh, no.
How bad?
Oh my
Who's
god.
that, MCL?
No, I don't want that.
ACL?
ACL.
ACL.
Come on, dude.
You might never be
can't.
the same.
Will Adam Schefter spend the offseason calling it a meniscus to
Yes.
rebalance the universe?
Yep, 100%. Don't even need to ask. Yep.
I'll take the under on those touchdowns and the overs on the other things, and an under on the knee injuries.
Under on the knee. That's Carson Wentz, by the way.
Great.
So 11 wins. When did the Ace? Did he? Obviously, you make the playoffs with 11 wins. So
Well, you want. Well,
Wait,
also,
does that
you
mean it's
win
a
the
Super Bowl
the
season?
Luke,
Yeah,
that's the
you win-
season.
Um,
got it. Okay.
Did
win a Super
did
Bowl.
the Eagles make the playoffs that year? Yeah, they beat the Vikings, man.
Wait, who does that
Yeah,
mean?
but it
when
wasn't
Foles
here,
becomes?
so like I couldn't remember that.
Are
Oh
we
wait,
taking Brett
it was
Rippon
here?
Super Bowl season
we
there?
don't know because we don't have a backup quarterback, Luke.
No, it's Brett Rippon.
It's
Yeah, the Bulldog. Okay, here's the thing about the
They
Vikings.
call Ryan
They would
Tannehill
absolutely
Thanksgiving.
build a statue of Brett Rippon outside
Bullet
the
Brett.
stadium after that.
Oh my God!
No
yeah,
question.
no question. Ring of Honor immediately. Don't even wait for him to retire. If he's the guy that
He's
wins a
right
ring.
next to Fran Tarkenton, and then 4 years down the line, people will be like, I don't know who's better.